Hi friends, hope you're doing well. Today I'm in an unusual place because I want to talk for just a few minutes about finding God in unusual places. I think this will be the last time I refer to the road to Emmaus, I don't know, but it is such a beautiful story that I hope it invites you to keep examining it and searching it and experiencing it again and again because it's full of beauty and meaning. One of the themes that I find in the story of the road to Emmaus is the truth that Christ is discovered even when Christ is not expected. Now, right now I'm in the Trinity Church courtyard. You might recognize this. I'm going to stand aside so you can see it. But this view, the deep blue sky, the white walls, and the brown trim, I think it's so beautiful. It invites me, every time I come out here to the courtyard, it invites me to remember that God shows up everywhere. In this time when we've all been missing being together in the sanctuary, I hope you've discovered that God is everywhere and that we can worship and experience God's presence and God's light being revealed to us, God's guidance, in the most unusual places. On the road to Emmaus, the disciples were walking. It was the resurrection day, Sunday, but they didn't know it. And they didn't know it because they were so downcast and so overwhelmed at what they had lost, who they had lost, their beloved teacher who had been crucified. But notice in the story that Jesus himself came alongside of them, came among them, and they could not see him because they were focused instead on what they had lost, rather than the reality that he was there, right there with them all the time. In this strange and unusual time of loss for all of us, we must not be held captive by what we have lost. Instead, we must focus on the ways that God's grace surrounds us each day, and how Christ walks this road with us, even though sometimes we can't experience it as the blessing that it is because our minds are caught up in what we've lost. Notice too how Christ came to them in the form, the shape, the experience of a stranger. In our country over the past few years, we have been divided over the role of the stranger in our country. Immigration, right? Here comes someone who, quote, doesn't belong here, the stranger. And in this story, it was the stranger who shared with Cleopas and his friend the realization that the living Christ was still with them, that Christ had not died in vain, but that he was walking along with them even in their despair. So for me, it's an invitation to reconsider how the stranger at times brings us the great grace of God. It's easy to trust that we will be blessed with the grace of God when we go to all the familiar places we go to, the sanctuary, go with our church friends, go with people we know, our beloved church family. But we must always keep our imagination and our flexibility active so that we can receive Christ in whatever form he comes to us. It's an invitation from Christ that he will walk the road with us. And we need not focus just on what we've lost or how discouraged we are or how confined we are, but instead that we can trust that Christ walks this way with us and cares for us in terribly uncertain times and in new places and new ways, not just the old familiar ones. So one more view of this beautiful blue sky. So I invite you, experience Christ in new ways this week, and we'll talk to you soon. Take good care.